For years, I believed the same advice everyone gives when life stops working. Just reinvent yourself. Change your career, change your relationships, change your appearance. Become a new and better version of yourself. And sometimes these things help for a while, but sooner or later you find yourself back on the reinvention hamster wheel, spinning round and around, trying to find yet another new version of yourself. I used to do that until one day I realized something surprising. Reinvention is often just rearranging the same problems into a new configuration. Because the real issue usually isn't who you are. It's everything that has been layered on top of you. If these kinds of conversations about midlife, identity, and reclaiming yourself resonate with you, make sure to subscribe to this channel. That's what we explore here at the Rebel Crone. Most people begin the reinvention process when something in life stops working. Sometimes it's one thing, sometimes it's everything. I like to think of it as a kind of self-preservation instinct. You reach a point where you feel like you simply can't keep going the way things have been. It's change or something inside you dies. For many people, this moment arrives in middle age, especially for women. Our bodies begin changing in ways we never expected. Relationships reach turning points, some good, some not so good. Children grow up and leave. Careers that once defined us start to feel empty. And suddenly we feel lost. So we start making changes. A new haircut, new clothes, a new job, sometimes even a new partner, or maybe none at all. And those changes can feel exciting at first, but most of them only provide temporary psychological relief. They create the feeling of change without actually changing the deeper patterns. Because rearranging your life is not the same thing as understanding it and making shifts at the foundational level. The truth is, most of us didn't consciously choose who we became. We lived our lives, we adapted, we made decisions that seemed right at the time. We chose certain partners, career paths. We made the best choices we could with the information we had. And then life happened, and we reacted to life. Slowly, layer by layer, an identity was built from expectations that were fulfilled and expectations that were broken. From the victories and the disappointments, from the wounds, beliefs, and coping strategies, until eventually something strange happens. By midlife, many people are no longer living as themselves. They're living as an accumulation of everything that happened to them. Now, if this resonates with your experience, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. When did you first start realizing something deeper needed to change? Albert Einstein famously said something to the effect of, "You cannot solve a problem at the same level where the problem was created." Let me explain why this is relevant. Changing the outside of your life doesn't change the inner architecture. You get a new job, but the same workplace dynamic miraculously shows up again. You find a new partner, and eventually the same relationship patterns return. Strange how one day your new love starts acting like the old one. Your kids leave the house and you feel free for a moment, and then the same emptiness creeps back in, or the same overwhelm creeps back in. The list can go on, but the bottom line, new life, same fears, same problems. If the internal pattern stays the same, the new life eventually creates the old problems. The real path of finding happiness, of finding yourself, isn't through reinvention. The only way to find you is through remembering. For me, midlife provided an opportunity to start shedding what was never truly mine or truly me. Beliefs I had been carrying around for years, emotional wounds that were still shaping my reactions, resentments that were quietly draining my energy, and identities I had adapted to cope and to survive. What I eventually discovered was something quite simple. Finding myself was not about building something new. It was instead about removing everything that was never truly me. By midlife, many women find themselves in the same place. They feel a quiet call to start shedding those layers, not because they're broken, but because they're finally ready to live honestly. They are tired of playing the game that they could never win, tired of trying to be the right person for everyone else or even for themselves. Suddenly, time starts to feel more precious. There's a quiet realization at this stage of life is meant for something deeper, for the real self. If you relate to this in any way, I want you to remember something important. Who you truly are was never lost. You don't need to go out and invent her. She was simply buried beneath expectation and survival strategies, all the stuff of life. In many ways, the truth of who you are was already written long before you arrived here. The truth of who you are was written in the heavens. For most of my life, I believed happiness required becoming someone new. I could imagine the woman I thought I needed to be, and then I would set about creating her. Sometimes she worked for quite a while, but eventually she stopped working, and the whole process would start again. It was exhausting. What I eventually discovered was something much simpler and much truer. I didn't need to reinvent myself. I just needed to stop pretending to be someone else. Because the truth is, we don't find ourselves by building something new. We find ourselves by removing what was never truly ours.